I'm Steve Dangle, and you're listening to Stick to the Pod.
Hello and welcome back to Stick to the Pod. Yes, another episode. It's Season 2, Episode 14. I'm your host, Jono. We're going to fly straight into Division 2 because we've got some cup semi-final matchups ready and waiting to be announced for the Laidler division. So where does the league action take us? So Saturday the 30th of November we have just the one. No, we don't. We have 3 games on the Saturday. Sorry, this is making no sense at all. All games are on the Saturday. 4 games. So we're going to start with the Kingston Sharks and the Nottingham Lions. And it's a 6-2 victory for the Kingston Sharks. Outshoot the Nottingham Lions 47-35. Taking the game 6-2. Cooper, Robinson, Clegg, Martin, Hogarth and Humphreys all on the score sheet for the Sharks, and Borowski and Clark for Nottingham. Moving on then, and it's a much better weekend for the D-side Ducks. It's not a winning weekend, but it's a much better weekend than the abomination they had the week before where the Coventry Blaze annihilated them, putting about 17 past them, I think it is. But this time, it's just a 3-2 scoreline. They do get heavily outshot though, 62-16, and a lot of penalty minute trouble for the D-side Ducks. 51 minutes in penalties total, 16 minutes just for the Blaze, but only a 2 for 11 on the power play for the Coventry Blaze, who run out 3-2 winners. Jones and Cutting scoring for the Ducks, and it's Kent, Brooks and Brooks Smith on the score sheet for the Blaze NIHL. Moving swiftly on then, and it was a game that I was at. Not a lot you can really say about this. 2 lines travelled for the Sheffield Titans up to the Billingham Buccaneers. The talking point of the night was probably an absolute sensational goal from Stephen Wallace, who's still doing it on his return to hockey this year after a 10-year break. It was a 7-1 victory for the Billingham Buccaneers, outshooting the Titans 65-21. And it's Dowd, Wallace, Greenhow, Jackson, Hall, Nertney and debutant Fraser all on the score sheet for the Billingham Buccaneers and their 7-1 victory over this Titans, who it's Sheehan on the score sheet for them. But yeah, not a lot to go into. I can't really go into detail on this one too much. It wasn't the best game. Like I say, it was just two lines for the Titans. It was the Buccaneers rolling 4 lines all night long. But the standout moment was a great goal from Stephen Wallace. The pass comes to him from the defensive zone to him on the offensive blue line. The pass is going to get cut out. Wallace, quick thinking, lifts the stick of the defenseman, takes control of the puck, skates in to the face-off circle to the right of the netminder as he looks on. He dekes around the defenseman. He then goes in all alone on the netminder, goes backhand, forehand, backhand, top shelf, pulling the netminder way out of position. An unbelievably fantastic goal. It was a pleasure to watch Wally still score those types of goals. But yeah, absolutely fantastic and wonderful to see that it's still there in his hands and in his brain capacity for thinking of those type of goals after so long out of the game. Moving on then it's the final game of the weekend, and it's the Telford Tigers who are hosting the Bradford Bulldogs. And it's a 5-3 victory for the Telford Tigers, outshooting their visitors 44-27. Stanton with 2, Watt, Hunt and Oxley on the score sheet for the Tigers. And it's Furlong and Sporforth getting 2 for Bradford in the 5-3 loss. So, like I say, not many games for Division 2 on Saturday. Just the 4 fixtures. We'll quickly run through them again now for you. But from this, we do get some cup semi-final spots confirmed. So it was the Kingston Sharks hosting the Nottingham Lions, and it's a 6-2 victory for the Sharks. D-side Ducks put a performance in, but not enough to take the points as they lose out 3-2 to Coventry Blaze. The Billingham Buccaneers take all 3 points against a very short bench Sheffield Titans, taking the game 7-1. And the Telford Tigers keep on their merry way, still not lost a game yet in the division, beating the Bradford Bulldogs 5-3. So, as for league standings, we'll quickly run through them for you. It's a Sutton Sting top of the league with 45 points, 15 from 15. Second place is the Telford Tigers on 39 points, 13 from 13. The best of the rest is the Billingham Buccaneers, 13 games, 30 points. And we're back in fourth, another 10 points behind. So all alone in third are the Buccaneers. They're 9 points away from the Tigers, with those 3 losses to the Sutton Sting, all 3 losses to the Sutton Sting. But they are 10 points ahead of the Coventry Blaze, who are in fourth, 11 games played and 20 points. Kingston Sharks, 13 games, 18 points. Altrincham Aces, 14 games, 18 points. The Sheffield Titans, 13 games, 10 points. The Bradford Bulldogs, 14 games, 10 points. The Deeside Ducks, 11 games, 5 points. And it's the Nottingham Lions right at the bottom. Last place, 15 games and 3 points. So what does that mean then? It means we have some semi-finals to announce for you in the Ladler Cup competition. These games will be played on January the 18th and 19th. For all those of you who you are interested, that is my birthday weekend, so come and say hello and bring me a pint. The Sutton Sting will host... Oh no, we're not fully complete. I thought we were. No, sorry, yeah. So Sutton Sting will host either the Coventry Blaze or the Altrincham Aces, and the Telford Tigers will play the Billingham Buccaneers home and away. So how is it looking in Group B to get that confirmation? The Coventry Blaze have 7 games, 1 remaining, 15 points in second place, to be chased down by the Altrincham Aces, who have 2 games left to play but are 6 points behind. So it will be a bit of a tall order. I am going to see if I can see who them fixtures are between. It could be the Altrincham Aces who take this, you know. So the weekend's coming fixtures on the Saturday the 7th is the Kingston Sharks and the Sutton Sting. That's League and Cup, but doesn't really have much say on what's to happen. The Sting are already qualified. The Coventry Blaze do host the Telford Tigers in League and Cup action. Telford already qualifying, but obviously league points still available as well, so it won't be an easy game for the Coventry Blaze. On the Sunday, the Sheffield Titans host the Billingham Buccaneers. It's the Titans who will be hoping to host a much stronger roster, much stronger for the Titans, and it's the Altrincham Aces against the Deeside Ducks, also in League and Cup. So you'd expect an Aces victory there and a Blaze loss there. In hindsight, just let's see what that would do to the table. So if the Blaze lose and the Aces win, they'll move to 12 points and will be just 3 points behind the Coventry Blaze. So let's see if I can find out who that last Cup game is between. I've gone too far. So the Deeside Ducks will host the Altrincham Aces twice. So it could be the Aces to lose, and you can't really see them dropping points against the Ducks, so you can imagine that they're going to get full points. So it is all down to whether Coventry can beat Telford Tigers for that last Cup semi-final spot. So that is Ladler finished with. We're going to move in to the Morley Conference. There was a lot going on, a lot happening, and just the one game on Saturday, and it was probably a bit of a surprise win. Not that much of a surprise when you see Hull's home form this year is nowhere near what it was last year. Like I say, Hull, I believe, only lost just the 3 games last year. They've already lost that so far this year. But they host a much improved Nottingham Lions, and they lose out to a much improved Nottingham Lions. They're actually dominated by the Nottingham Lions. The Nottingham Lions out shooting their hosts 31-17 and coming out 4-2 victors. It's Lewis and Haggart on the score sheet for the Hull Jets, and that man again, Padalecki, on the score sheet for the Lions, along with Mather, Wright and Somerton. The Deeside Dragons, after a very disappointing weekend last weekend, losing out to local rivals, the Widnes Wild got back to winning ways. They took on the Sheffield Scimitars and they beat them 4-1, outshooting them 44-17. It's Phillips, Hayek, Witkowski and Parsons on the score sheet for the Dragons, and it's Swaffield on the score sheet for the Scimitars. Moving on then, and it's the Widnes Wild and the Whitley Warriors. The Widnes getting their first regulation win last weekend, and the Whitley Warriors embarrassed on home ice by the Leeds Knights. And it's the Whitley Warriors who gain the upper hand in this one. The battle of all the W's, and they take the game 4-1. They were outshot 26-24, and it was actually quite a close game until late in the third period as well, which the Warriors took with about 8 minutes left in the third period. 2 goals from Edgar, I believe. Edgar gets a hat-trick on the night, along with Yarrow, the youngsters, getting on the score sheet, and it's Howie for the Widnes Wild. The Nottingham Lions is this time to host the Hull Jets, and the Hull Jets do get some revenge, taking the game 3-2, outshooting the Lions 41-30, and that's probably the most sensible I have seen the shot counter come out of Nottingham so far this year. On the score sheet for the Lions is the 2 usual suspects. When you see goals for the Lions, you normally see these 2 names in Somerton and Padalecki. And for the Hull Jet, it's Edwards scoring 2 and also Daintiff on the score sheet. So that brings me to 2 last fixtures, and it's the Blackburn Hawks visiting the Leeds Knights. They'll want to keep up their momentum after getting a huge victory against the Stars the previous week. And it's Barnes who finally turns up this season, scoring a hat-trick for the Blackburn Hawks, and McKinney, Davies also getting 2, and Lutwyche for their 7 goals. And it's Dell, Wag, Vengus, Exley and Deneko for their 5 goals. The Knights are also outshot 60-31 for the loss, which was a 7-5 game in the Hawks' favour. Lastly, it's probably the biggest game of the weekend, and it's probably the end of any sort of title charge for the Solihull Barons. They found Billingham Stars in no mood for a freebie or a night off after last week's loss against Blackburn. It was straight back on the wagon and straight back to doing what they do best, and that is scoring goals. Very weird first period in this game. I'd never seen the Solihull Barons so undisciplined. They go 1-0 up within 8 to 10 seconds, straight out the blocks, and you're thinking straight away, oh, it's going to be one of those nights. Maybe that loss has kind of affected us, but no, the Stars retaliated within minutes. Within 2 minutes it was 1-1. Within 5 minutes the Stars were 2-1 up with 2 goals from Chris Sykes, but then it was just crazy amount of penalty trouble in the first period. I actually think so. The Barons took 8 penalties on the night, and 7 of them were in the first period, and they were all lazy penalties, all penalties that were just from players not skating, just laziness, hookings, holdings, and silly things like that. The delay of the games, panicking under a bit of pressure, and the Stars were 3 for 8 on the power play, and it's probably an area that the Stars do need to work on. But it was a dominant first period from the Stars after going 1-0 down. They take the first period 4-1, but the puck just forever seemed to be stuck in the Solihull zone. The second, a much more even period. The damage was kind of done. I mean, the Barons get the goal to make it 4-2. Stars retaliate straight away and make it 5-2, and that kind of took the legs away from the Barons. I think if they go on and make it 4-3, certainly becomes a very different game, but the Stars quick to take that advantage away from the Barons and made it a 5-2 game quite quickly. And then the third period kind of just played out. It was kind of I had a feel of the game was done. The Stars racking up another 4 goals and the Barons putting in another 2. It was a 9-4 victory on the night for the Billingham Stars. As I mentioned earlier, Sykes getting 2. Then Elder pops up with another 2. Helens from defence. Galloway getting a monkey off his back. Mossy scoring in back-to-back games. Young Lucas Dowdall getting on the score sheet. Deserved the goal for lots of hard work on that third line, with Sam Dowd, another one of Stars youngsters coming through, who winged the line with Shuggy playing centre. Fantastic job all night shutting down that top line. And Brown scoring for his 17th straight league game in a row, putting up a crazy amount of goals already this season. He's broken into the 50-point mark as well. We'll have a quick look at some of the point scorers a bit later on. For the Barons scorers, obviously, as you'd expect, Otterson always seems to turn it on against Billingham. It must be some sort of point to prove that he likes to show. But yeah, he gets 2 on the night. He was gassed by the middle of the second period. The third period, he pretty much had nothing left. Dan Mulcahy, obviously missing his brother due to injury. We will also get onto that a little bit later on. And Maurice also on the score sheet. The Stars do outshoot the Barons as well, 47-41. So yeah, a quick run through from the game. Let's say the Stars Barons, there was no real major incidents, there was no flashpoints. Some Wally on the sideline decided to take a photo of a video and call me fat and tell me something I don't know, come up with something original. Made me laugh, but hey ho. People have got nothing better to do to insult me. At least they're leaving other people alone, I guess. But hey, maybe on another day I might have been slightly more offended, but probably not. So no major flashpoints from the weekend. I did have a video sent to me that there was a kneeing in the Hull Nottingham game, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes from that. But just a quick run through from the weekend's results. And we'll have a look at the league table and we'll look ahead to what's coming this weekend. So just the one fixture on the Saturday, and it's the Hull Jets hosting the Nottingham Lions, and it's the visitors who take all 3 points, 4-2. Deeside Dragons get themselves back to winning ways after a Derby Day loss. They take the game 4-1 against the Sheffield Scimitars. The Solihull Barons couldn't jump on the back of Stars' loss from last week, and the Stars get back to winning ways, winning 9-4. Leeds Knights couldn't dent the momentum of the Blackburn Hawks, who take the game 7-5. The Widnes Wild lose at home again, losing out to the Whitley Warriors 4-1. And the Hull Jets get some revenge on the Nottingham Lions from the previous night, taking the game 3-2. So we will look at the league table. There's nothing we can do with the cups yet because there's still a lot to be decided. No one in A group has qualified yet, and Blackburn and Hull need to decide what position they're going to be, either first or second. So into the league then, it is still the Billingham Stars top of the tree, even after last week's loss and getting back to winning ways this weekend. They are still 9 points clear. They have yet to lose a game at home, the only team to do so. They have played 17 games, 45 points, 124 goals scored. The Blackburn Hawks in second, 16 games played, 36 points, 100 goals scored. And then no one else gets near them, really. It's the Hull Jets in third, 19 games played with 35 points. Deeside Dragons in fourth, 17 games played, 33 points. Whitley Warriors fifth, 16 games and 31 points. Sixth is the Barons, 17 games played and 29 points, but 7 losses. I believe they only lost about 5 all last season, was it? 4 or 5 all season? I can't remember what the loss totals were come the end of last year. Too busy celebrating the league win, I guess. And then in 8th, is it? No, it isn't. In 7th is the Nottingham Lions, and also 17 games played for 21 points. Sheffield Scimitars are in the final playoff spot of 8th, 18 games played with 10 points. Leeds Knights are in 9th, chasing that final playoff spot with 17 games played and also on 10 points. And last, and very much least, is the Widnes Wild with 16 games played, just the 5 points and 114 goals conceded so far this year. So as I said, in the Cups, there's still not a lot to go on in regards to these. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll certainly get some answers, because I do believe within that time period, the Hawks will have played the Jets. I think they have still to play each other. I think the whole Jets' last game is against the Hawks, so we'll certainly find out what happens there. And the Stars play Nottingham and Deeside after this coming weekend into their last 2 games before Christmas. So that'll certainly get Group A decided as well. So what does the fixtures bring us this week? And let's have a little look. There is nothing really stands out. On the Saturday we have the top 2. The Blackburn Hawks host the Billingham Stars for the 3rd time of the season and the 2nd time in 2 weeks in Blackburn. The Solihull Barons play League and Cup action, and they host the Widnes Wild. The Leeds Knights host the Sheffield Scimitars, who are battling for that final playoff spot. And moving into Sunday, It's the Deeside Dragons hosting the Leeds Knights. And for the fourth and final time of the season, and for a third time in 2 weeks, the Billingham Stars host the Blackburn Hawks. Hull Jets host the Whitley Warriors, and the Nottingham Lions host the Solihull Barons. So a big weekend of NIHL hockey and a huge weekend for the top two. So yeah, let's go talk about this a little bit. I mean, I think the whole league, I think all the hockey fans, the fans for just hockey, probably all of Whitley Bay as well, will be hoping for 2 Blackburn wins this weekend. And what that will then do is bring the teams very much closer and give us a title race. If Stars win both of these games, I think we can safely say the title is probably long gone, and the Stars will be back to back. I know there'll be a lot of hockey left to play. It's a bit crazy to see that. But on form, look at what's happened already this season. If the Stars do win those 2 games, it'll be a long way for a lot of teams to come and catch the Stars. But if Blackburn gets 2 wins, it's wide open. If the games are shared, again, I think it's advantage the Billingham Stars. Bit of other news as well. Obviously, Liam Charnock has been signed by the Blackburn Hawks. Clearly worried about the signings that were made elsewhere. So brought in some players themselves. Obviously, Wikowski going to Deeside. I think prompted the Hawks to make some moves. The form of the Stars this year has probably prompted them to make some moves. They were touted as the title favourites this year. They were touted to clean up this season. Obviously, they've got a massive roster. And then obviously they come and add Andrew McKinney to that, a National League player. And now they've added Liam Charnock, another National League player. Yeah, it's sad that there's nothing coming through from their own academy. The academy just isn't ready yet. It does take time, but I'm sure over a fair bit of time they will get that academy up and running, and I'm sure it will start producing talent soon enough. But in the meantime, it is the checkbook. They have to bring players in, and they're bringing National League players in to try and stop teams like the Billingham Stars, who are absolutely loaded with homegrown talent. And it's just great to see. And it's the same for other clubs that are producing this talent as well. The Warriors have a fair bit of talent there coming through, and I think we'll probably see that over the next couple of years as their older guards start to think about life after hockey. The Barons are probably the same as well. They're probably one of the older sides in the division who may now have to start giving their under-19 side players a bit more ice time because they've got some talent there as well. Obviously, we know Sheffield and Nottingham story. It's an ever-present conveyor belt of talent. Yes, they're always on the wrong end of the result most weekends, but they are producing talent week after week and season after season. There's always somebody new coming through or stepping up with those organisations. And obviously with Leeds, we're starting to see it with them as well. Their talent is starting to come through. They've got some very young, raw talent there. And I think towards the end of the season, they'll probably start clicking a hell of a lot more than they have done so far this year. So, yeah, a big weekend in an NIHL auction. Obviously, the Hawks announcing a new signing. Obviously, the new signing helps. Now, it's been 100% confirmed that Mr. Royds will sit the full allocation of his ban. As we know, he was in an incident involving Phil Mulcahy, who we've now seen the video public. I'd already seen the video and some of the images. These are now made public. They're on the NIHL North fan group on Facebook. I think, as most people have now seen it, I think the ban is just and fair. Yes, we know Mr. Royds, James Royds, isn't that type of player, but unfortunately, this isn't looked into by anymore. Yes, we know the intent wasn't there. James Royds never went into intentionally to injure anybody. I don't believe any player ever does, to a certain point anyway. And unfortunately, he did endanger another player with a reckless... that's what it was. It was reckless. He went and made a hit. He got it all wrong. And unfortunately, it was a knee-on-knee clash. That's probably ended the season for one of Barron's star players, and may just could affect the Hawks during the time of his ban if they do drop any points. I know they've now brought in Liam Charnock, so it shouldn't be too much amiss. But Royds is a good player, and he will be missed by the Hawks. I think the ban was right and fair. I thought the appeal was a bit silly. I don't really get the appeal, especially now you've seen the video as well. They'd have had access to that video before the appeal. I'm not quite sure what they tried to achieve. It was never going to get overturned, and it hasn't been. I'm actually quite surprised that the 2 suspended games never actually got added on to James Royds' suspension. So he still has, I think, 2 more games to sit, which will be this weekend, and he has 2 further games suspended. So we'll require him to be on best behaviour for the remainder of the season. So that just about covers NIHL North for this week. It's been a bit of a mad week or so for my podcast. As you know, in the last episode, which you should have heard by now, unfortunately did come out very late. I am quite limited to how much I can put out there from what I use, like technology-wise. It is a subscription base, and it does cost. I think it's something like $13-14 a month, which works out a tenner a month for the hours that I use. I get 3 hours. Like I say, it's self-funded. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking hockey. I get great feedback, which makes it all worthwhile. So this is probably just more of a heartfelt thank you very much for listening. It does mean a lot. Your messages, for those of you who do message or come and see me and speak to me at games, and words of encouragement or even a bit of advice or just say good things about the podcast, it is much appreciated. It isn't, like I say, I do it for the goodness of my heart. I don't do it for reward. I do it because I love the game. I love the league. I love my team, and as you see, I'm on StarCast every week. I do this every week. I'm for always trying to be in the public eye, promoting games, promoting the podcasts, promoting the sport as best as I can, because I truly do love this game. So I just want to say a huge thank you to you all for taking your time out and listening to the pod when I get it out there. So yeah, it's just a big, huge, heartfelt thank you from me. That being said, if you do have any questions, if there's anything out there, any feedback that you may have, please do get in touch through the social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, or if it's just leaving a comment on the YouTube channel. But all I can say is please like and subscribe on the YouTube. Please like and share the pages on Facebook and Twitter, because it'll forever be Twitter to me. You've also got the email address where you can drop me an email at sticktothepod@gmail.com. So that is all for this week. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll speak to you again after an absolute crazy weekend of hockey. Stay safe and bye for now.